that is fairly professional. You expect the police officer to do his job. In Kenya, you're dealing with a department that is reported by the same government, the EACC, to have a police force that is the most corrupt in the entire country. The most corrupt institution in the most corrupt ministry. So how do we balance the two? So when we're looking at decision to charge, we're God forbid, we go back to days of police prosecutions. I mean, that was just another era of, you know, big errors. Yeah, indeed, an era of errors. So how then do we draw lessons from the US, or maybe our facilitators, our able facilitators? Do you have experiences from countries that share similar contexts with Kenya, where there's corruption, where you have police service that is, you know, known to be unprofessional, engaging in bribes and crimes themselves, giving out their own weapons to criminals to engage in crime, you know? Just sharing that experience, I think, would be good for us so that we can learn from a similar context and apply that. I think what we have in the US and the UK is the ideal situation that we all hope to get to. But can we maybe, from the facilitators, get experiences of other jurisdictions that have commonalities with Kenya?
My question goes to Madam Patterson. I would like to get a comment on immigrants and legal representation. Immigrants in general and legal representation. The second question, I'm a bit curious. I would like to know what are the most common cases that are present for plea bargaining. Thank you.
Thank you. My question goes to Tomika. You talked about, I think, 97% plea bargain. People taking up 97% of people taking up plea bargain. And you also correctly say that in Kenya we do not allow all. There are exceptions, basically sexual offenses and so on. We want to hear your experience from your country. The fact that it's an open, everybody can access plea bargain, and here we do not allow sexual offenders to access plea bargain. What is your experience and what is your view of our policy here from what you've learned over there?
The question goes to Tomika and Shamini with regard to UK and US jurisdictions experience there. Now, you say that in both the US and UK, there is a prosecution guiding the investigation. Now, the main thing that the editors here are concerned about is to know the possibility of abuse of prosecutorial powers. That's the elephant in the room. Now, in the US, you say, and the UK, prosecutors can guide investigations. Is there a possibility that that mandate can be abused in the sense that we know and we understand that during investigations in criminal matters, investigators have got an obligation to collect both incriminating information and exculpatory information, which is supposed to be supplied for the benefit of, of the accused person if they have it. We have seen in the US where investigators have pursued certain cases, and I think yesterday I was even watching the situation about the gentlemen who are convicted for the killing of Malcolm X. Prosecutors likely guided the investigators to withhold exculpatory information that would have exonerated the suspects. Now, what's your experience? Is it possible that such prosecutorial powers in guiding investigators can be abused so that in the interest of earning a conviction, because every prosecutor wants to earn a conviction, to the extent that you end up ensuring that information that would have exonerated the accused person is kept away from the court. Maybe you can comment on that. And maybe that's one of the issues that we have editors here very much interested in this particular training. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a small amendment of my question, or clarification rather. The 97% that you talked about, is it the state of Philadelphia, or is it the entire country?
Let's also keep in mind that time may not be on our side. Let's have two more questions and allow our panelists to respond, because also the answers take a bit of time. We need also to go for tea, because the gentlemen out there also need to go back to do other duties, please. Yes.
One of the panelists said that the decision to charge, I think in the UK, is not appealable. What exactly does that mean, and what is the situation in? The second question will be, in the country currently, there are attempts to, they say, to decriminalize petty offenses. What exactly does it mean, and is the ODPP actively involved in this? Thank you.
Dennis, you wanted to ask a question?
Mine is to Juma, maybe to get a comment, and also the moderator of the session. The issue of plea bargain, especially for sexual offenders, the reality is, for example, here in Mombasa, in the coast region, I'm aware that we have so many cases, especially during this time of the pandemic, where, and I'll give an example. A father defiles his daughter. Case is taken to court. There is sufficient evidence from the doctors and so on and so forth. But the family decides to take the case out of court, settle it out of court. What is the reality of settling some of these claims and some of these cases? Because sexual offense cases are very, very tricky, very sensitive, and at the same time, very emotive. Because when we talk about plea bargain, case is taken to court, there's all this evidence, but then the family decides to pull out. What are the challenges that you're seeing, and the number of these cases that are being reported?
Shall allow now our panelists to respond.
So I'll take the plea bargaining questions first. So the 97% is all federal cases across the U.S. We have over 80 federal districts in every state. So 97% of all federal cases. The percentage is going to vary depending on the state and sort of how they gather information, but generally speaking, the rate of convictions with pleas remains very high regardless of what jurisdiction that you're in. When it comes to common cases that are resolved through plea bargaining, I don't have those statistics on hand, but what I will say is that because there is no exceptions, then you see a wide variety of plea bargaining across every type of case. Obviously, we have a very high level of certain types of cases in the U.S., so a lot of narcotics offenses or assaults, a lot of petty offenses.